But it's beautiful to know y'all are here today. Y'all gonna have to keep talking to me over there.
Okay.
Y'all gonna have to keep us talking. Welcome, everybody.
So I'm just gonna do the introductions and then we hand over to Dr. Bree. Um, so good morning everyone and welcome. Thank you for joining us today for our Equity Learning Series session, Balancing Leadership Mental Wealth from Resilience to Regulation. Um, we appreciate you taking the time to invest in your learning and growth, and we hope you leave today's session with valuable insights and practical tools that you can apply in your work and daily life. It is my pleasure to introduce today's presenter, Dr. Brian. Uh, Now, before I tell you about her credentials, I want to tell you why so many people connect with her work. Dr. Bree has a gift for helping people put words to experiences they've been carrying for years. She helps us understand that behind every role we play, leader, advocate, educator, caregiver, colleague, parent, or community member, is a human being who deserves care too. As a retired psych professor, licensed professional counselor, executive coach, organizational health strategist, and founder of Evolution Engineered. She has spent more than 15 years helping individuals and organizations understand the connection between well-being, leadership, and meaningful change. Her work has impacted thousands of people across the country, but what makes her approach unique is that she doesn't just teach people how to push through difficult moments. She teaches us how to remain connected to themselves while moving through them. Today's conversation couldn't be more timely. Many of us have learned how to be resilient. We've learned how to keep showing up, keep serving, and keep carrying the weight of our responsibilities. But resilience alone can be exhausting. Dr. Bree invites us to consider a different question. What becomes possible when we move beyond simply surviving and begin building the skills to regulate, recover, and truly thrive? Her message is simple, powerful, and deeply human. Mental health is generational wealth, and our healing is our justice. So whether you are arriving today energized, overwhelmed, hopeful, tired, inspired, or somewhere in between, I invite you to be fully present for this conversation. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Dr. Bree Hazley. Dr. Bree, you're on mute.
Boom, I'm back. I was saying, "Mwah, mwah, 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 mwah." Catch those kisses. It's so good to be with y'all today. I see some folks that I know out there in the chat. Uh, Hello, everybody, and welcome. Welcome. Thank you for taking this time, not only to hang out with me, but also thank you for taking this time for yourself today. My name is Dr. Bree, of course, and the work that I do is deeply rooted in this idea that professional development should inspire personal evolution. What we know, what the research tells us, is that y'all don't use your time off to take care of yourself. Y'all are not out these streets using your PTO just to relax. And so it's so important that organizations are invested in giving you something that really nourishes you, something that is really for you. So thank you for taking this moment and for trusting me with this experience. And also thank you to the Office of Equity and everybody who helped. We behind the scenes, y'all, we were doing a lot to get this done. So I just appreciate all the support and all the care and love that went into allowing this work to come forward. Now I just need to know a little bit about y'all. I want you all to jump into the chat and drop 1 to 3 emojis, a couple emojis that represents how you're feeling today. How are you arriving today? Where are you at energetically? Now put a word next to it. Let's see what we got. Woot woot with the watermelon. I see Ramsey. Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. What else? Nicole, you got to put some words. That's like worried and hey, I don't even know. Slow roll, Millie. I'm not mad. Sleepy sleeps, Brian. I got you. Let's go. Let's go, Kirsten. Becky says she needs some coffee. I see what's happening. I see what's happening. Drop your emojis. Let me know how you're doing. What's influencing your energy today? In a very honest way, what's influencing your energy today? And you might have to take a breath and really feel into that question for a moment. Coffee in the cup, ready to rock. Let's go, Dawn. Isabella, here. Terry. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I hear you, Antonia. Yes. Can everybody give some love to Antonia? Unwanted changes at work, family issues. Let's go. Deadlines. Let's go. Mm, family and chronic health conditions. Come on, welcome. Y'all can't see, but I got a heater and a fan today because that is the way perimenopause is set up. Anything could happen in here. These bodies, these bodies. Well, welcome. Keep dropping your emojis today. What I want y'all to know is that today is about an invitation for you. It's just an invitation for y'all to connect with each other, to connect with yourself, and it's just a moment. Um, my magic is all about taking really complex ideas and making it real simple and direct. We're at a time in our life where we know so much about the brain that it's important for us to just be practicing how do we move forward? How do we stay healthy? Excuse me, stay healthy, stay balanced. So today is about giving y'all a gift. And let's say I do not successfully hit all these wonderful targets I have for us today. My deepest intent is for y'all to feel loved. For an hour, I want y'all to feel like y'all were loved on. Even though I can't see your beautiful faces, our energy's in here together. And so I want this to be something that's nourishing for you all. Here's what our time together is going to look like. We're first going to talk about why healing justice is the evolution of equity leadership. We really have to reframe that. Also, I want you to understand the difference between resilience and regulation. Oh, that's an important one. That's an important one. Then we're going to get into something that's really just for you, which is recognizing when you're dysregulated. This is going to be fun. Recognizing when you're dysregulated and what your patterns look like. Oh, game changer. Also, today, believe it or not, I am going to show you where your mental wealth is. I'm going to teach you how to calculate your mental health, which also means learning the difference between mental health and mental wealth. So today you're going to get a score. Who's excited about that? And I'm not talking about how they talk about mental health on TikTok, y'all. I'm talking about when you leave here today, you're going to be like, literally understanding where your mental health is and what that means. And lastly, I want to also get you all feeling into the idea of reimagining what's possible when you are emotionally, mentally, relationally resourced. That's what I mean when I say internally resourced. Organizations want us to do more. They want y'all to do more with less. And the whole idea of this work is that you can still be internally resourced, and that's where your real capacity comes from. So that's what we're going to jump into today. Y'all excited? Huh? Perimenopause also wants me to melt on the floor. Let's go, Jessica. Y'all are so sweet. Thank you. Thank you. Let's jump into it. I want to make it really easy for you. If you have your phone, I'll be, of course, displaying the slides, but also feel free to jump in, use the QR code, and it'll take you right to the slide deck so that you can follow along at your own pace. Thumbs up? I need thumbs up, the humans. I need to know it's time for us to keep rolling. Let's shape our space a little bit. Yes, y'all are the best. That's all I want is a little love out here. So I know I'm not alone. Let's talk about our time together. I just want to shape the moment. One, I know y'all are here. Be engaged. I want y'all to talk to me, jump in the chat, but also I know Aisha's in the background working it out. We believe in you, Aisha. Uh, for folks to be able to come on audio or on camera if you have something to say or if you have questions. Also, I am really trying to make sure we have enough time at the end so that we could talk, so that we could really talk, because what I give you is going to be disruptive enough in the best ways that it should give you some questions. So I want to give us a little bit of time afterwards to talk. So we'll take space, make space with that. Celebrate each other's courage. Give people a heart, drop a thumbs up, keep going in the chat, but also be patient with the journey. Be patient with yourself and expect that everything is not going to be solved today. I have the pleasure of doing a two-part series with you all. So today, I am going to teach you how to keep your mental health balanced, right? But in July, I am going to teach you to do the very difficult work of processing grief. Yes. Come on. Y'all know you want to snap in the background. It's not an easy thing to do, but nobody teaches us how to do that. And so I will be here for two parts. So believe in the journey, be patient with yourself, and be open. It is a gift. Take what is yours to receive today and share the other stuff. Put it out there. I like to say, leave what is shared and share what is learned. It is absolutely okay for you all to leave this space, right? And go talk to other people and say, man, I was in this training today with Dr. Bree, and we learned about transgenerational trauma, and it really made me think about my family. Absolutely okay. Not okay. Man, I was in this training today with Dr. Bree, and she was talking about some of the violence in her childhood and transgenerational trauma, and that made me think about my family. That's not going to work. That's my story. So we want to let people keep their stories here. If somebody jumps on and opens up or shares something, let's keep that here. But what you learn, go share it. I'm like, you got the slides. I hope this presentation makes you want to call your family and be like, sit down. I just want to run through a couple things with us. So share it. Also, I tell people about vulnerability hangovers. Brene Brown talks about this, and it's just normal to be awkward afterwards. After you hear something and do the kind of work that makes you feel really open and vulnerable, sometimes you're just weird, especially around each other and other human beings. It's important not to take it the wrong way. It also doesn't mean that it's a negative thing. So, again, give yourself grace. And also connect with each other. Y'all better keep this chat active. I can't see it all the time unless I click on it, but I want to see the numbers going up. Everybody good with that? Give me a whoop whoop in the chat, some emojis, some thumbs up. I need to know we're good with how we're going to hold this space out here. That's it. Now, anybody who knows me or has ever hung out with me knows that I call bullshit on safe space. I don't do it. I don't do it. I really don't do it because I just want y'all to know forever and ever that a safe space is not real. They don't exist. There's no place on the earth where somebody gonna sit there and let you say anything you want and not have an emotional reaction. That's kind of crazy. That's not even a good emotional boundary. People are allowed to feel things, and just because someone has a reaction, it's not a call to action for you. So I'm not interested in a safe space. Also, because our brain confuses safe with familiar. So if you really want to change and evolve, you have to be willing to not feel safe. Being brave doesn't feel safe, but it's the only way we can really change. So if you hang out with Dr. Bree, I don't do safe space, but I do sacred space. And in some, a sacred space is just a place for us to be janky. I need to know I can have a hot flash in here and y'all won't judge me. I need y'all to know that my kids are home from school. And while I said I have important things to do, teenagers aren't always respectful. Let's just be honest. They're not always respectful. So they might still knock on the door and want my car keys. But this is just a space for y'all to be unpredictable and brave and not try to keep it all together and to just create a space where we can be janky together. I did not make a janky slide, so if someone can jump in the chat and define janky, that would be great. Let's keep rocking. Let's keep rocking. Did y'all really jump in the chat and start? Go ahead, define janky if you know what it is. All right, let's keep rocking. The first wellness wisdom that I want to give to you today is this one, and this is a tough one, and it is that we cannot heal what we're not willing to feel. That's an important one. So much of the work that we do and being out in the world working all the time, it really hardens us, right? And depending on different aspects of our identity, we harden up because of that. And one of the most important lessons to understand is that you have to be able to sit in your feelings and feel them so that you don't harden up. The hardening up shows up in places like your relationships, right? It shows up with how you hear feedback. So you have to be able to sit still and feel. That's one of our disciplines. One of our disciplines, sit still and feel so that things can move. So I want everybody to take a nice deep breath, spread it on out, and I want you to take a second to feel into this question. What invisible emotional labor does it take for you to do your job? Yeah, drop some answers in the chat. For you to do your day-to-day role, for you to show up for families, for people, for your family, for yourself, for your team, what does it take? Come on, patience, understanding, constant self-management. Melissa, you better speak. Endless patience. Y'all, I'm serious. Worry. Yes, not enough rest. Come on, Dalberta, you better preach. We ain't sleeping out here serving others. Swallowing my pride. Too young. Yes. Pretending. Oh, Gabrielle, try to work. Let's go. Holding space for burnout staff, holding space for employees' grievances. Allison. Angry executives. Allison, you better work. Conceal. Mm, putting on a mask. Coffee. Let's go, Dawn. Moral injury, Rose. Ugh, beautifully stated. Ugh, this is beautiful. Quieting real talk. Yeah. Letting go of my opinions. Y'all are in the bag. I love that y'all are writing this down. When's the last time you even told someone this? When's the last time you named this? Right? That's this idea of the reality of how the emotional labor confounds in our lives in real time. There's so many visible tasks that come with the work that you do, but there's also the invisible stuff. And this is about understanding the first step is to take that pause and to be able to say it. You got to name it, right? You have to have language for it, especially so that you can tell the people around you what you're carrying so they can keep an eye on you to make sure that you don't armor up, that you're not armoring and hardening as well. My invitation for you all today is to first reconnect with each other. Because one of the really difficult pieces that have happened over the last couple of years is just the division between us, the division between our work. And it started with COVID, but it's been a slow, gradual thing to kind of come back together. And in the midst of all of the uncertainty and changes and craziness with the world and at work, all of that stuff, it makes us skeptical of each other. It makes us feel disconnected from one another. It makes it easy to misread each other's intentions. It allows us to separate ourselves from people and create division just because people feel differently. That is what I am hoping for us to start to address. One of my favorite disciplines, discipline number 2, is you cannot have what you're not willing to become. You cannot have what you're not willing to become. That means that if you want to see something, if you want good friends, you can't have them until you're a good friend. You want a loving, trusting partner, you can't have one until you're a loving, trusting partner. So, us reconnecting with each other is also about you reconnecting to you and all of us reconnecting to the truth of our humanity, which is that we all know what it's like just to keep showing up. And my challenge for you today is that's the problem. That's the problem. We keep showing up instead of changing. The definition of conflict, my beautiful humans, is this. Conflict is when everything changes, but you won't. That's it. I know. Boom. I'm gonna be dropping bars all day, so feel free to write them down. Yes, that's all conflict is at the end of the day. Conflict is things change around you, but you don't want to change. So now you have conflict. That's how we become dysregulated. I want y'all to understand that we got to let go of this resilient stuff, this survive stuff. Sometimes you're not doing well and you shouldn't be there, right? Because you're going to say something crazy. Sometimes there's a lot of important aspects of regulation. So today is about we have to call bullshit on resilience, and I invite y'all to the new era of regulation. People gonna be people, and life will keep lifing. You got to be better regulated. You got to be better regulated. It's really the only answer. So we build community through something that people find really tough. And this is this. Excuse me, this is it. We build community by allowing others to witness us standing in our truth. In our truth, right? Mind you, I didn't say being honest because I want you to know forever that honesty without compassion is brutality. We've been trying to be brutally honest. Honesty without compassion is brutality. Brutally honest is not truth. Truth is something deeper, more vulnerable, more meaningful, and truth always creates a bridge. It is not an opinion or a critique, right? It's something deep and vulnerable. And that changes our relationships with people. But we got to let people see us being who we are, truly who we are. And that's difficult to do for a lot of different reasons. But still, it's time for us to evolve. It's time to evolve how we really also just look at equity work, because these things go hand in hand. They're exactly the same. I had to evolve all the different things that I taught for years about equity work. I'm talking about decades, right? Don't let this beautiful brown skin fool you. Decades. I had to completely shift and renew and change and evolve. So it's time for us to evolve and do things differently, because the way we've been doing it is contributing to the division at this point. This time in the universe needs something different. And don't forget the definition of conflict. Things have changed. Have you? Have you? That's a bar. That's a bar. You know what? I'm just going to keep rolling today because I feel like I'm in my little bag. Part one, healing justice. I'm calling this the evolution of equity, y'all. Looking at things differently. Here's what it is. Healing justice is the pursuit of justice that preserves our humanity without sacrificing our well-being or our connection to one another. The pursuit of justice that preserves our humanity. That means that you can do your work without sacrificing your well-being or our connection to one another. This matters because at the end of the day, when we talk about equity and justice, we're talking about the residual emotional, psychological, and relational impact of larger systems, larger ideas, our experiences with people. Underneath it, it's what is lingering in you, right? Underneath what's happening at work in this system, it's how it's affecting you. So we have to start understanding that the only true metric of good, strong equity work is that it improves individual well-being. If it doesn't improve well-being, then we have to understand it then does harm, because health isn't passive. Wellness isn't passive, it's active. And when we don't take the time to deal with our emotional wounds, right, which none of us do, it turns into transgenerational trauma, right? And I'm not just talking about in your personal life, because this is both. In the professional lives, it creates organizational trauma. And the thing about organizational or all trauma is that there's only two things you can do with emotion, the energy that comes from a traumatic event or unprocessed emotional wounds. There's only two things you can do. Trauma is either transferred or transformed. That's it. If you do not let it be processed through you, if you don't deal with it, you absolutely pass it on. It comes out in your work subtly, it comes out in your relationships, it comes out in places where it's unconscious to you because you've told your brain, I don't want to deal with this. So your brain's like, all right, I'll deal with it without you knowing. So that's why people are like, you got an anger issue. And you're like, no, I don't. They like, I did, I'll leave you alone. Right? People exposing our blind spots because we are not processing stuff. And what do y'all think the most effective way to transfer trauma is? Jump in the chat or come on and talk to me. What's the most effective way to transfer trauma? Mm, mm. You said have a kid, Brian. Do nothing, just be messy. Negative comments. Y'all got me weak out here. Ignore it. Traumatize somebody else. You better go, Maria. Role models. Y'all get to it. Y'all get to it. I'm still weak on have a kid. Yes, not healing thyself. Yeah. Here's the most effective way to transfer trauma. It's very simple. Silence. It's the not saying anything. It doesn't have to be neat. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't even have to be accurate. It just needs to be said. You have to start moving the energy. But it's the quiet, it's the things we don't say that's really impacting us. For this reason, this idea of healing justice, excuse me, this idea of healing justice, y'all, I want y'all to see it from a standpoint of these two pillars. And these are actually the two pillars of all of the work that I do is a coach, a counselor, an organizational consultant. The first one is this. It is our healing is our justice. There is nothing that impacts the world more than how you feel about yourself. That's it. Nothing impacts the world more than what you feel than how you feel about yourself. Let me ask you guys this question. Take a deep breath. It comes in heavy. How different would your life be if your parents had a chance to heal? Hmm. How different would your life be if your parents had a chance to heal their emotional wounds? You can simply feel through that, or feel free to jump in the chat, throw some words out there. What would be different about you? That feeling that you feel is transgenerational trauma. That is how things are passed on. We can feel it even though we don't name it. Now I ask you this next question. How different would education be if teachers had a chance to heal? Hmm? How different would the justice system be if judges had a chance to heal? Right? POs had a chance to heal. That is what it means that's where you do real work. You have to disrupt things from being transferred, which means that you got to deal with your stuff so it's not transferred in, which is why the second pillar of the work I do is that mental health is generational wealth. I told my kids, y'all might not get a bunch of property or money. I'm gonna leave you some nice shoes and some handbags, maybe, but you might not get a lot from us. I didn't grow up with money. I'm the first person to go to college in my family and the first doctor in my family. I, I don't know what I'll have in the end to leave my kids, but I can tell you this, they got great mental health. Oh, they're steady. They got boundaries out in these streets, y'all, which meant I had to get some. We're in a training with 300 people, and my kids are there. I asked a rhetorical question, like, raise your hand if you feel like you got good boundaries. My kid's hand went up quick, like, next question. So proud of that. But mental health is generational wealth. This is what you pass on. This is it. Now, let me give y'all the difference. Here's the difference between mental health and mental wealth. Because I know y'all are probably wondering, like, she keeps saying mental health. Did she say a mental wealth? Which one is it, lady? Well, I will tell you. Your mental health is how you feel right now or when life is lifing. It's your reaction and your emotional vibration from something happening right now. Regular stuff. It's just how you feel today as life lives. Whether that's good or bad, that is the mental health part. But here's your mental wealth. Mental wealth is the reservoir of new thoughts, new ideas, ways of being, changes that you're making, new habits and relationships that you build and invest in yourself so that when life lives, right? When life starts life, because that's what life does, you pull on your mental wealth to regulate your mental health. This stuff is my entire life. It's not only what I teach, but I only teach it because it's true in my own life. And truth, uh, the most powerful experience I had is almost a year and a half ago. My daughter's kidneys failed, and she developed a brain clot right here in her head. And the worst thing that you could ever hear a doctor say is that the current intervention we're doing is the last thing we can do, and this could be fatal. You should probably call your family. Ugh, y'all, you don't want to hear that. First thing that came up in my mind is, oh my God, if I got to bury my baby, they're going to have to bury me too. I can't do this. This is all the stuff that came up in my heart. And as that came up and I allowed myself to feel that, this beautiful thing came up as a secondary thought, feeling. And it is, you are in the best mental health of your life. If you have to do the worst thing in the world, you can. You'll still be a good mom. You'll still be a good partner. And it will hurt forever. I have been practicing the discipline, understanding that I am in the best mental health of my life now. And your mental health can't solely be based on what happens while life lives. Everybody gets sick. Everybody loses someone. Everyone has to be a caregiver. Everybody has to lose money. People lose their job. Life comes for everybody. So you cannot be trying to base your mental health on lifing. Your job is your mental wealth. And believe it or not, you are not supposed to get everything in your childhood. Right? You were not supposed to get everything in your childhood. If you didn't get good boundaries because your people didn't have them, you're supposed to get it as an adult. And they didn't give it to you because they ain't have them. You can't give something that you don't have. That means that it's our generation's job to remember that mental health is generational wealth. We have to know how to deal with and stay healthy and regulated while life is lifing. Excuse me, y'all got me in tears. Everybody take a water break. I just wanted to tell y'all the truth. I also want y'all to know that my baby recovered and has been in full remission for over a year and a half now, and is doing so healthy. Um, and that, oh, I love y'all. Thank y'all for that. It is beautiful as you practice this stuff because change happens because you practice and teach your brain how to love you in a different way. When life lives, this beautiful stuff comes up. And I needed it because I was frozen. I couldn't even move. And the second wave that I have been practicing, right? And hear me, it doesn't mean the other stuff ain't there. The toxic thoughts are there, but now there's a counter narrative. It doesn't just stop there. So let's talk about what it really means to heal. And again, I ain't talking about TikTok healing, talking about real healing. Forever, I want you to understand this, that healing is not about feeling better. It's about becoming better at feeling. Uh, bar. Healing is not about feeling better. It's about becoming better at feeling. You're supposed to feel things. You're supposed to feel jealous. You're just not good at feeling jealous. I used to not be good at feeling jealous, but now that I know how to process jealous because I get what it is, I'm great at jealousy. Here, side note, here's what jealousy is, just because you might be wondering. Jealousy is the physical sensation, right? Because emotions are physical. Jealousy is the physical sensation of seeing your suppressed desire alive in someone else. When you see something you told yourself you can't have and somebody else is living in it, that feeling is jealousy. And it's good because it is showing you your heart's desires that you have suppressed to remind you that you may choose to not want that, but you absolutely can have it. So now I can feel jealousy without completely shaming myself. So it's about getting better at feeling things, get better at shame, get better at guilt, get better at regulating through the emotions that you feel, get better at anger. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Let me see what's happening in the chat box. Yes, get better at feeling. Hi, Nicole. Welcome, honey. Teach your brain to love you. You dropping bars, Felicia. You better write them, Blissiflins. Yes. You're welcome, Julie. I tried to warn y'all. Y'all be like, why y'all put up these warning slides? Because I'm coming in. I'm gonna love the hell out of y'all. You, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Let's keep rocking. So healing is not about feeling better. It's about becoming better at feeling. So as we talk about regulation, it is about becoming better. So here's what the difference is. Remember that our resilience, we learn that it's about push through, hang in there, work harder. Do y'all know every single time, like a script, when I ask my mother, how you doing? She will always and forever say, I'm hanging in there. She hanging in there. That is not the goal. Hanging in there is not the goal. This is what I want y'all to understand about resilience. Resilience is a short spurt of time, right? It is the last little bit that you are able to bend without breaking. It is a small part of the race. It is not a baseline survival. It is just when you got to finish the race. That's what resilience is. Regulation, however, is about being able to pause, being able to slow down, being able to sleep. One of the ones we need to talk about is a session on rest without guilt, right? These are the things that regulation is about. You understanding that it is an ethical and professional responsibility that you are rested. Could you imagine going to get a surgery and your doctor's like, I didn't get it in that well. I've been pushing it for hours, but I'm about to work on your heart. Like, absolutely not. It is a professional responsibility if you work with other humans that you sleep, right? Not sleeping is the closest, neurologically speaking, to psychosis. Don't shoot the messenger. That's just science. I figured y'all should know. So resilience is like endure, but regulation is what allows you to restore because resilience takes a lot out of you. That is why it is not a single state of being or a healthy state of being to be in psychologically. So in order to regulate, you have to understand when you're dysregulated. This is what dysregulation is. Dysregulation is your brain perceiving a threat when it cannot make sense or of an experience because your thoughts and feelings are in conflict. Dysregulation, remember what I told y'all about conflict. Dysregulation is when your brain's inability to hold competing emotions. That's why that's what happens. We feel dysregulated. Somebody said something, but you think they mean this. There, our brain has to be trained into a coherent state of holding opposing and contradictory emotions and thoughts. Discipline number 22 is two things can be true at the same time. That's a bar. That is probably one of the most important aspects of well-being to train your brain. If you forget everything else I said today, you got to understand that two things can be true. Two things can be true. You could be brilliant at your job and not doing well this quarter. Two things can be true. You could be the most giving person and have a selfish moment. That's absolutely true. Like, y'all get what I'm saying? Until you allow two things to be true, you're always going to feel dysregulated and tight because someone's saying something to you and it's competing with what you want it to be or what you think it should be. How about that's just another truth? All of a sudden, you will feel your little chest opening up. Y'all getting this a little bit? So when you're feeling that and you start pretending like you ain't feeling it or not naming the emotion, you build everyone's favorite word, you build a trigger. A trigger is you tell your brain, I don't like to feel powerlessness. So then your brain is like, bet, I am going to make this unconscious. And so anytime somebody makes you feel powerless, you go unconscious and respond in really predictable ways. Is that making sense? You respond in really predictable ways. So every time you deny an emotion, you create or expand a trigger. So you got to get better at feeling. I also want you to understand, everybody loves the word trigger. We get it. Triggers the behavior. However, before you are triggered, you are cued. You are cued. The skill I like to teach in coaching and to couples is you got to catch the cue before you're triggered. Meaning, feelings are physical. They are physical responses before they are cognitive or mental frameworks that we call words. You feel it. You get tight in a meeting before you're like, what just happened? The feeling happens first. So if you can start to pause and recognize the feeling before you go into one of your triggered responses, that's where the key to self-regulation is. Because that is where you have to catch this program you built, this app. Like every time somebody makes me feel powerless, this app's gonna come on. You got to go to where that is and catch it in your body before the behavior is triggered. And we all have predictable fear and stress responses. Y'all know them. People used to think there's three, but there's actually four. One is fight. Don't judge me. Fight is my fear response. It's when I feel an emotion that I'm uncomfortable with or not good at processing, I feel under attack. And so attack back. I also come from a background that's really violent. Everybody fought. Every, every woman had to fight men all the time in my childhood growing up. And so my fear response is to fight. Any other fight folks out there? Don't act like I'm the only one in here. Don't judge. Don't do it. Don't do it. Not today. Yes, y'all, there's some fighters in here. Yes, thank you, Antonia. Yes, the next one is flight. Now, remember, we all have a little bit of all of them, but we have a predominant one as well. Flight. Flight is overthink, stay busy, distract, or leave. You want to avoid or escape. And what's happening in your brain is, I need to get away right now. Then there's freeze. Freeze is to shut down, go numb. It comes from a feeling of feeling stuck or overwhelmed, or you just feel nothing. And what's happening in your brain is, I don't know what to do right now. So it's that paralysis that happens from you overthinking. What they call it, paralysis of overanalysis. And what you end up doing is absolutely nothing, just freezing in the moment. And the last one is called fawning. And that's my go along to get alongers, right? This is my youngest baby. Fawning, appease, being a people pleaser. And what's happening in your brain is, I just want them to stop right now. So as you start to look at and try to find these personal triggers that y'all have, I want you to see what it feels like in your body, and then what's the predictable response you keep doing. Because we have a way of changing things in our brain. Y'all know. It's what I said, but what you heard. And everywhere you go, there you are. And I love the quote that we do not see the world as it is, we see the world as we are. We do not see the world as it is, we see it as we are. You see the world how you feel. Somebody could send you an email and it says, let's talk soon. That's all it says. It just says, let's talk soon. Depending on your emotional state, that email says 8 different things. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So we do not see the world as it is, we see it as we are. I want to take a pause right here and just allow for some questions, some reflections. Let me take a sticky note break. I love a sticky note. Sticky note. Dr. Bree, what's a sticky note? Great question. What's something that's sticking with you? You can drop it in the chat or pop on and talk to me. Can people pop on and talk to me, Aisha?
Yes, I think so. I think they can unmute themselves to talk.
Okay. If someone wants to unmute, please feel free to jump on.
Good morning, Dr. Bree. This is Mira. I'm with
Hi,
DSHSDDA.
Mary.
What's sticking, I think, as you're going through the fight, flight, freeze, fawn, I kind of have to think I'm usually a fighter, but I'm also seeing myself evolving into back and forth amongst the different ones. So there are times when I'm like the fawn, oh yeah, let me people please. Sometimes it's a shutdown, and sometimes, oh yeah, yeah, I'm gonna be gone. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I'm just thinking it's navigating through those. It depends at
You
this
know,
day and age for me.
what's
Yeah.
interesting about what you said, Mira? You said kind of going between fight and fawn. Is that what you said?
Yes, yes.
I love that because, of course, we have multiple, but I would say also, sis, take a look at whether or not that's actually flight.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like,
Like,
okay,
if
I
you
am
know,
going to
like,
avoid.
right?
Uh-huh.
Like,
It's a
you
dance.
here, you bobbing and weaving, sticking and moving, doing a shoulder roll, but really you're just running.
I hear you. Yeah, thank
But
you.
even though your brain is active, that's the overthinking. That's I'm out of here. I'm gonna go completely cognitive in this situation, just all mental.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love you,
correct.
Mira. You're perfect. Thank you for sharing
Thank
that.
you. Thank you.
Any other questions, insights? Let me see what I got in the chat. Team flight all the way. Y'all are so funny. Were there any other questions? Because y'all know once I hop back in my bag, what do you recommend when you observe others experiencing one or more of the fear responses? Mm, that is a great question. Is it Anya? Anaya? It's either
Yes,
Anaya or
Anya.
Anya.
Anya is good.
Hi,
Thank you.
Anya.
Hi.
That is an excellent question. What do you recommend when you observe others experiencing one or more of the fear responses? I recommend that you are experiencing something yourself in that moment. We're so quick to, especially as people who like love other people that have a very true altruistic side, we tend to think that people need help. And that has so much to do with what's going on with us. Sometimes it's hard for us to really see people working through things because conflict, right? Like conflict is making us uncomfortable. People having heightened emotions is making us uncomfortable. Someone else feeling less than is making me uncomfortable, right? That part of it is important for me to regulate so that I could feel into, from a regulated place, how do I respond? Otherwise, if I'm like, oh my God, somebody was treated this way and I'm witnessing it happen, and I'm just like, boom, you can't talk to her like that in a meeting. What response is that for me? That's my fight response. And I can't create peace if I come out with weapons. And the goal of any conflict that I'm seeing is peace, not necessarily to save anyone or to help anyone, because I also don't want to perpetuate that people need saved. Like they're okay, they can handle this. And I can be there in a way that is regulated. But first, it means looking at how I'm responding to it. I used to respond to any aggression from a man as like, oh, he wants to fight, like physically. I was so sensitive to that because that was me. So did I see what I was seeing? I was seeing how I was feeling. So to be able to first respond in a way that's regulated and I can stand 10 toes down on, to be able to respond in that way, I gotta be regulated and healthy. So I gotta understand how I react to people. I gotta understand how what my racial biases are, how I tend to characterize people, how I tend to decide things about people, how I'm judging people. I have to be honest with myself about jealousy and judgment so that I can also regulate past it. Those are my natural responses, right? That are trained, that comes up for me. It's unconscious. But if I'm aware of it, then I can choose instead of reacting unconsciously. If I'm aware of me in a space, then I can consciously choose. Conscious choice is the goal of mindfulness, that you create enough space to choose instead of just react. Was that helpful?
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Anya. Beautiful. Look at all the hearts. These are great questions. So it brings us to then what then is regulation? That's it. Regulation is that you have to reconcile holding more than one truth. You have to teach your brain that two things could be true. In the next session, you guys will be learning the I am, I feel framework. And that framework is specifically about being able to train your brain to hold I am and I feel simultaneously. Part of working through some of the uh, violence and anger and physical reactions that I would have to anger as a young person, I had to learn this thing that I feel rage and at the same time, I am peace. I feel shame and at the same time, I am worthy. We think that every part of us has to be on board for us to be healthy. That's not true. It's about being able to hold congruence. Two things can be true. I do anti-racist work and I'm hella racist. Like those two things are true at the same time. I have to be able to hold multiple truths so that I can stay regulated. If I'm trying to be one thing, then that lacks integrity because I want to be integrated, right? Whole, complicated, janky. I am all of those things. And I give myself the space so that my brain can still have new experiences. Because the thing that happens when you're dysregulated all the time, here's a telltale sign. When you are dysregulated all the time, you stop taking risk. Mm. You stop being brave because you got to calculate everything. So you're not feeling it. And here's the thing, if you're not feeling things, you should know this. If you're blocking emotions, when you block an emotion, everything gets blocked, all the emotions. And not only is love, joy, excitement, anger, worry, those are emotions, but so is inspiration. Inspiration's an emotion. Creativity is an emotion. Those aren't thoughts. So regulation is not just about how you get along with people and how you care for yourself. It's about also being able to channel what it is you were born to do. You got to feel stuff to become. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down out there? Letting yourself sit still and feel. And regulation is how we remain human under pressure. We have to do some tough stuff these days. I'm working with a lot of organizations that are doing reductions of force, and it's hard. It's hard. It can cause a lot of trauma for the people having to do it, and of course, for the people experiencing it, and for the whole organization. And so, how do you stay human under pressure and also not take all of this stuff home as well? Which leads me to what I promised you all today, building and balancing your mental wealth. Here's a question. Drop this in the chat. How well are you balancing your mental health? How well these days are you balancing your mental health? Now, I want you to put 1 to 5. 5 being wonderfully. I'm so balanced. And 1 being like, what's mental health? I'm too busy thinking. 1 to 5. Drop your number in the chat. All right, I see where y'all at. Well, I'm like this. Let's see if their predictions. Now, I'm gonna keep it real simple. I'm gonna show y'all how to calculate your mental health. Everybody take a deep breath. I need to know that you got something to write with and a calculator. Let's get it, people. Something to write with and a calculator. I am going to go through the 12 different categories of that combine to make your mental health. Okay? I call them the 12 mental wealth investments. For each category, you're going to rate either or somewhere 1 to 5, simply based on how much energy do you give this area right now in your life. Now, don't be out there lying. This does not work if it's ideal. Don't be like, yeah, this is 4. Like, no, it ain't. It's a 2. Tell the truth about right now, today. What is true today in your life? Once we go through all of them, you are going to calculate your average. Now, use a calculator, humans. Y'all hear me? Use a calculator because your brain will start switching numbers. All right, everybody ready? Give me some thumbs up in the chats, some whoops, or whatever. Yes. All right, let's get it, y'all. Take a deep breath between each one. Write your number down really quickly. Here we go. Number 1, your romantic relationships. Yes, people, your romance. Write your number down. This is all romantic partnerships. This is dating or marriage or whatever you're doing out there romantically. Boo thing. Next one is your friendships. How much energy are your friends getting right now? 1 to 5. Take a breath, work, life, your career, school, whatever that is for you. 1 to 5. How much energy? Tell the truth. Next, your environment. Yes, your mental health is affected by whether or not your space is cluttered and a mess. This is your car, your office, your cubicle, your room, your bathroom. How much energy right now is your physical space, your yard, whatever it is? How much energy is your physical space getting? Tell the truth. Next, your family life. Whatever that is for you. That could be your kids, your partner. That could be caring for parents, your family of choice, your family life. Deep breath. It's important to breathe because when you breathe, you create a space that's about 3.2 seconds long where you are not thinking. Next, your intellectual life. Now, this is learning something new, like a new language or puzzles. Like this is just intellectual life. Going back to school, just learning. Big breath. Next one. Your intimate pleasure. Yes, I put this on the slide. I know I couldn't lie. So I don't be lying. I don't care what room I'm in. You got to tell the truth. Yes. Whether or not you feel your body is worthy of pleasure and joy and you give that to your body is absolutely part of your health. Absolutely. And we ain't judging you on your number. Look, I'm getting hearts and thumbs up. I just want to tell y'all the truth out these streets. Your spiritual life. That could be religion, that could be meditation, that could be communing with the earth, whatever that is for you. But connecting to energy that is bigger than yourself. That's what this space is about. Big breath, new adventures. How much energy are you giving to getting up, randomly going somewhere, trying something new, taking on a new adventure? When's the last time you did that? The next one is your creativity. Your creativity. Now, listen, this is creating something really cute, creatively that inspires you for no reason. Huh? Can I show y'all something? Y'all gonna laugh. I'm gonna show y'all something. Here's my new hobby. Y'all gonna be cracking up. I realized I didn't have enough creativity in my life. Here's my new creative hobby. I bedazzle Jordans. I'm not joking. I sit and make my Jordans sparkly. So when I say creativity, this ain't got nothing to do with nothing, y'all. These ain't got nothing. I just do it. I'll be on Amazon getting crystals. My kids were like, please stop putting jewels on our shoes. But I'm a fashion icon. They're for me. And people are like, oh my God, I'll pay you to do one. I'm like, this is my leisure. This is leisure. So I'm talking about nurturing your inner artist. Maybe you're 68 years old. You're like, I'm fitting to be a rapper. Drop some bars, make a mixtape. When do you let yourself just create for the sake of creativity? The next one is your physical health. That's movement, nutrition. Are you drinking water? Do you stretch? Right? Just the things that are for your physical body. And the last one is your community. Your community. How much energy do you give to being part of a group? That one's always low for me, or has been in the past. Yeah, y'all can't tell, but I'm deeply introvert. I'm so introverted. I could be in the house for days. Y'all don't even know. I be having to recharge. I love humans, but I also call them the humans, right? All right. Now, I want you to take your score, add it all up, use your calculator, and then divide it by 12 to find your mental wealth number. Mm-hmm. Get your number, and as you calculate your number, drop it in the chat. How's your mental health, honeys? I'll give you a second. I'll DJ for y'all a little bit. Mm. I see some numbers coming in. Yes. Debbie, you said lower than you thought it would be with the emojis. Yeah. Maya, 2.4. Why did I feel like lowballing myself? Right? Our brain's like, I don't even want to deal with that. I'm gonna make that a 2. All right. We'll drop your numbers in. As you all are finishing this up, take a deep breath. I want to show you where you should be, where perfectly balanced the mental wealth is. And it's a 3. Yes. The closer you are to 3, you should absolutely not be at a 4 or a 5. Absolutely. 3 means the other half of you is adequately resting and balancing your priorities. Things can be crazy at home, but you're giving it a 4. But in other areas, you're balanced. You had to turn down some other areas. That's balance. That still means that your overall mental wealth is very strong. Here is how you understand your score. The scale of mental health is about whether or not you are avoiding things or over functioning, either doing too much or running from. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? With my family, I am married, excuse me, married. I've been married now for a little over 20 years, but for the last 4 years, we didn't live together. We separated, we're divorcing, and something beautiful happened, and now we're reconciling. In that reconciliation period, I had to turn romantic relationships up to a 4, which meant at the same time that I had to adjust some other things. I had to tell my friends that I was putting the time here, right? So they didn't just say, "Oh, she just changing." Because of a man. Oh, they back together, she don't know nobody. You tell people that is what it means to be healthy and balanced. You tell the other areas that you're moving things around. I also turned down at work a lot, right? I was working like crazy, doing really incredible things, but I was traveling a lot. I had like 52 presentations a year. That's like one a week. So I had to just start dialing back some things and communicating and also accepting the outcomes of dialing back, right? If you dial back work because you need to put time into your love life, you can't be mad when your evaluation says you got a 3 and you're like, what? I should have a 4, but you weren't doing a 4. You were doing a 3. Are you capable of a 4? Yes. But you also chose to, so that's also okay. It's also important to understand with your mental wealth, y'all. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? If you're in the 1 or 2 range, you're avoiding something. So let's say, for instance, there's one area on the mental wealth scale, and it's been on a 2 forever. You get what I'm saying? That's not healthy. It is just as unhealthy to be on a 2 for long periods of time as it is to be on a 5 for long periods of time. We don't want to be on any end of the extreme. I may need to put a lot of energy into my kids when they're having something going on. But if I linger too long, I'm doing too much as a mom. I'm doing too much. Because there is space where you have to back up and stay in the rhythm of your life and make sure your energy is going in lots of places. I want you all to forever hold on to this, because I hope what you see is that thing that I had to teach myself, and I'm sure of for you. You are in the best mental health of your life. You have to be. You've learned. So make sure you're not continuing to tell yourself the story of who you used to be just because something is going on. We have to remember that trauma is not what happens to you. Trauma is the story you tell yourself afterwards. Trauma is not what happens to us. It is the story, the way we organize the narrative and make meaning out of what happened to us. That's what sticks, the story. You already survived the event. But the story that you tell yourself about it, that's trauma. Because trauma is not an emotion. Trauma is a memory. Trauma exists because of the brain's inability to see or experience the difference between something happening right now or you remembering it. Because a memory creates the same type of chemistry in your body. So your brain's like, is this happening now or not? That's what trauma is. It stays in you and makes the event keep coming up every time something seems similar. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down here? Let me get some thumbs up so y'all keeping up with this, because I recognize I'm in my little bag today. So you have to make sure you're not telling yourself a story that you're just not doing well. Oh, I'm always this, I'm always that. You have the ability to change, but you can't change unless you start changing the story. So how do you change the story but still tell the truth? You use language like this. I look forward to. Don't say who you are not, say who you look forward to becoming. There's a big difference between I don't want to be sick anymore and I look forward to feeling better. There's a big difference between I don't want to have debt anymore and I look forward to financial freedom. One of them is a truth that creates a bridge. Another one limits you and keeps you on topic with what you don't want. So I want you to remember that you are in excellent mental wealth. And when you get out of balance, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It means that you need to sit down and look at this. It might mean that you need an adventure. I go on a breecation every year. Okay, I'm lying, every quarter, because I be needing to go somewhere by myself and sit alone. I am just starting to understand these things about myself. I need a new adventure. So I'll randomly get an Airbnb for 2 days and just go sit there. When my nephew passed, I sat there and I cried for 3 days by myself. Sometimes I need time, I need space, and I want to train everybody in my life that that's healthy to do and to support me doing it when I need to, because sometimes I won't realize I need to. Now my kids are like, you think you should leave for a while? And then jokes on them because I do that, because then I do leave and then they don't have no money or a car. But that's a different presentation. All right. So, how do you balance your mental health? Here's what I want you to know about this, y'all. One, ask you first. You got to check in with you first. Don't go asking your partner, like, do you think I'm working too hard? Don't go ask your friends or your family. Ask you first. You have to feel into it first. Next, you have to let your feelings bring things into focus, right? If you don't even want to look at this chart because it keeps saying you need to go date, like forget our little mental wealth scale. I ain't going on a date. I'm past that. I don't like, you probably need to put some time in there. Okay. Get better at feeling that feeling. Next, revise for what's true right now in your life. It may be true that my relationship needed a 4 when we were reconciling. Now we've hit something stable. So I needed to turn it down to a 2 so I can get back focused on building my company. Y'all get that? You got to calibrate. However, when you realize you need to calibrate, y'all got to take stuff, turn it down before you turn it up. You have to divest before you invest. Y'all know what I'm talking about. In my training that is about rest without guilt, I teach people that you know you're exhausted when you start taking on more. We're so at. When you start trying to pick up more projects and do more and help more people, you're tired. Why? Because you're trying to convince yourself and other people you're not tired. So you start over functioning. You got to take stuff off your plate before you turn it up. Oh, you can't be on 5 on everything, or you will crash and burn everything. And then the last one, which is an important discipline, and it is no one thing is everything. No one part of your life can be everything, but also no one email is everything, no one job, no one friend, no one bad experience. No one thing gets to be all things. So you have the ability to constantly recalibrate. That's what's beautiful about us and our brain and our capacity for change. You just shift, start saying new stories of who you are becoming, as opposed to continuing to reflect on who you are not or who you haven't been, because it doesn't make it true for the future. So as we close up today, my hope is that you all are starting to reimagine what's possible when you feel regulated and internally resourced. My hope is that y'all actually use the tool I gave you. Not only that, give it to somebody. I invite y'all to sit down with your kids and do it tonight. I invite you to take it into a program. I invite you to take it into a meeting, right? I invite you to use these tools because everybody says, I want a real practical, accessible tool when I go to a training. I just gave you one, literally. Not only that, but y'all got the QR code too with all the little slides. So you can run this whole slide deck for your family. Sit them all down, right? Call your sibling, do this. Because the other thing is this, it is revelatory for you to understand other people and how they're putting their energy in so that you're not writing stories about them neglecting you or not spending enough time with you or not being invested. This type of stuff is what helps people stay healthy in relationships. That you all remember that no one thing is everything. So as we reimagine this idea of being regulated and resourced in our work, I want y'all to remember that resilient leaders are always pushing forward, right? It's that do more model. Whereas regulated leaders it's about noticing signals. Noticing when you see something at work, it's not because of that person. It might be a system error, right? Relationships can have dynamics that are unhealthy, but not the whole relationship with a person. It's about being able to pause and slow down and regulate your responses. And remembering, I shared this earlier, but it comes from the work of Dr. Cornel West. It's called spiritual citizenship. And it's the idea that how you feel about you when you look in the mirror in the morning, how you feel about you, that is the most powerful work you do in the world. How you feel about you goes into your emails, it goes into your documents, it goes into your reports. It impacts how you interact with people in the office. It impacts how you interact with people at the grocery store. You being regulated, that is how we rise together. That is how we start to overcome our differences because we teach our brain that two things could be true. I can love you if we don't vote the same politically. I can even be in a relationship with you. Hell, I choose to be. I don't want people around me that are just like me, or they will not show me my blind spots. I will not get the creative conflict and tension that I need to grow. And so I'm not interested in confirmational bias. Y'all know that, right? It's choosing people around you that think like you so that you never have to feel different and you always feel right. But one of our disciplines is you can be right or you can have peace. You can be right or you can have peace, but you can't have both. Take with you today, number one, this idea of our healing justice, but also two, that mental health is generational wealth. Mental health is generational wealth. Being mindful that, again, how you care for yourself and whether you care for yourself, that is what gets passed on, whether you want it to or not. That resilience requires regulation. You can't even tap into your resilience in a way that's healthy if you are not regulated. And then, of course, reconnect and rise in our shared humanity. I want you all to understand that you can do what you're doing out in the world. And instead of armoring up to protect yourself from people and things and experiences and feelings, instead of armoring up, I invite you to practice opening up. That is something that we have to train ourselves to do because there are a lot of things in our backgrounds and in the world that make it seem like it's such a good idea to armor up. But if you are always armored up, you will always find a fight. Opening up is what allows for something different to happen. So take with you this as well. The only true equity in this universe, the one thing that everybody gets no matter what, is creativity. Creativity. Creativity is the only true equity. Everybody gets it no matter what. The idea or the ability to have inspired action that creates change. It is your creativity that gets you out of conflictual conversations. It's creativity that gives you an idea how to interact with people in a different way. It's creativity that tells you how to talk to your kids differently. Ideas, inspiration. That stuff is all emotions that you have to feel. So I invite you to live in that. So as we close, here's my intention for you all today. May we become the kind of leaders who no longer mistake exhaustion for excellence, who have the courage to reveal and heal what we carry, the wisdom to regulate what overwhelms us, and the humanity to reconnect with one another. Because the future of our communities won't be built by people who simply survive together, but by people who finally learn how to heal, lead, and rise together. I love you guys. You are perfect. And now I want to open up the space for some Q&A. So, and it doesn't have to be a question. It can also be a reflection. And Mama loves a sticky note. So as you leave the space today, pop in either in the chat or jump on and talk to me, and let me know what's going to stick with you from today. Sticky note, sticky note. Oh, come on, timing. Nailed it. We got about 10 minutes for Q&A.
Dr. Bree, this has been so inspiring. This is Mira again. Thank you so much for just taking time to meet with us. And I know I'm just going to speak for myself. I needed this today. So thank you. And there's just so much more that I need to sit and quietly digest what you shared today. So thank you. Is it okay if you share the QR code from the beginning? I think this one is a survey, right? So thank
Yes, it's
you.
the survey. Let me pull it back so you can have the slides as well. Thank you for that. That means so much. I really wanted to give you guys something that was nourishing. So thank you for sharing that. Who else? Felicia, you got your hand up. Jump in.
Hello, Dr. Bree. I'm so thrilled that you're here. And I just want to say this comes at a great time because in my work I'm trying to figure out how can my team and I work together through conflict. And so I really appreciate this. One of my questions goes back to the responses, the dysregulation responses. Number one, do they change as we mature, our dominant responses? And number two, and I think you kind of answered this, but is there such a thing as a truth response that's none of the fear, flight, freeze, or fawn? Is there a truth response when we are regulated? Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you are so welcome. It's good to hear from you. Let me make sure I got both questions. I heard, is there a truth response? And then what was the other one?
Yes, is there a truth response? And do our predominant responses change as we grow older?
Absolutely. Our fear responses change just as much as our love languages. Right? Depending on the situation, we can be, it's called our adaptive capacity, that we may adapt to it. And I also heard you say if you're not doing any of those fear response, but instead you move into a truth, then what's happening? That's just authenticity, right? Reaction is coming from a place that is unconscious. Whenever you are moving in conscious choice and choosing how you want to show up, that is authenticity. I call it self-sovereignty. You're sitting in your sovereign self and you're speaking from a place of truth. Is that helpful?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Speaking from a place of truth. Yes.
Yeah, that's it. Go and speak from your sovereign place. I love that. And hopefully, Felicia, you remember the seven sovereign speak statements. I am, I feel, I will,
I
or
know.
I know, I love,
Hmm.
or I sense. Yeah, the
I'm,
sovereign
def
speak.
I'm definitely joining the next one so I can remember.
I hope you come back to the next one. Thank you. Who else? Questions? Oh, Jesse, that's beautiful. Yes, no. Take yeah, and wait for inspired action, not just the urge to do something because you see something, but wait till you are inspired. Yeah, I feel like y'all were listening. That makes me so happy. Any other questions? Julie, jump in.
I just wanted to say I wasn't supposed to be at work today, and vacation days with me and another supervisor were switched, and I was able to attend this training. And I really do feel like it happened for a reason because, and I
Mm.
actually am getting emotional because I think it came at a really great time in my life. So thank you, Dr. Bree. I really appreciate this and look forward to the next session. So thank you so much.
Mm. I have cried so many times in this session already. Yes, thank you for that. I made a commitment when I left being a professor and I left working at Planned Parenthood. I made a commitment that I don't want to say anything anymore or teach anything anymore that is not absolutely worth saying and teaching. Like if it doesn't profoundly speak to our deep universal truths, like as humans, then I don't want to say it. I don't want to just say stuff anymore. So it means a lot to me for you to say that, Julia. I am just as moved, just as moved. Thank you for that. Y'all got me all glazed up in the chat. Oh, thank you. Look, I'm so glad. How often do you recalibrate? Corey said, yeah. Oh, so I have to like go on a new adventure every 3 months, or I just start getting kind of moody, and then I can get really isolative and then irritable. And I realize it's just truly because I the way I metabolize emotional energy. And I spent so much of my life feeling like I can't, you're supposed to be there all the time. Like you can't tell your partner, like, I gotta leave every 3 months and go on a vacation by myself. It's basically sus. And then of course you start telling yourself no one can make it without you. And it's important for me to do it anyway, because the first time I did it, I felt so much like myself, especially because I'm one of those people that was born a us. Like I got lots of siblings and then I was married. I am always with people. And so I deeply need, my brain needs no responsibility for like 48 hours so I could rest deep. I had a autoimmune condition. I got to sleep. I have to sleep and get into deep sleep and have time to meditate and be away from anything that would cue any aspect of my personality, just so that I can sense myself. And so it started out twice a year, and then I realized I needed it more. And then I started making my partner do it too. And it's just something that I think humans need. And it speaks to the new adventure. No guilt when man. Oh no, I feel guilty, but I'm better with guilt. I'm better at feeling it. I can feel it on vacation. Yeah, yeah, that's why I got to stay for either 2 or 3 days, because the first day is just sitting with guilt, talking myself through it. And what's great about the guilt and making myself sit with it is that it allowed me to realize that I was out of balance with this, what I call like the balance of leadership. It has to be like 50% altruism and 50% narcissism, right? Like good leaders have both. Like it's got to be like, I really want to help the people, and I can, right? And for me, I'm in my household thinking that I am the only one who can help. Right? I'm the only one. Things will fall apart. So what's the worst that could happen? Like, I don't know. I don't know, but they'll be fine. They will figure it out. So I had also getting away also helped me to realize how much I was building a codependency that was draining me. Like, I want to do everything and I never leave. I was like, that's gonna be really like, what did I build? So I had to build a different family system of how they relate to me, how they understand motherhood, how they understand me as a woman. Like, especially just going through perimenopause. Like, I need time to figure out what's going on with me and not be on. And that's healthy for everybody. Um, put this in your bag. I teach couples the 4 S's. Well, it's actually 5, but 4. Support, silence, space, or solutions. Support, silence, space, or solutions. And so now the 5th one is for couples is sex, but that's delete that from the footage. But the 4 S's is great because it's a model that you can use to be able to talk to people and ask them which one they need. Because oftentimes you're just reacting. And so this gives you kind of some sort of framework to understand how to show up for people and also how to ask people to show up for you. So now when I need space, I ask for it. But how do you deal with guilt? You just feel it. I learned that you got to put guilt in the passenger seat. Right? I feel guilty. It's not dictating my behavior though. And when you process guilt, it turns into self-compassion. That's what you feel that? Let yourself feel guilty, and processing it in a healthy way, it moves into self-compassion. That's why you feel guilty, not because of what you're not doing for other people, but what you're not giving yourself in the moment. That's what guilt is.
All right. I think we ran out of time. I would like to thank Dr. Bree for sharing her valuable insights and expertise with us today. I would like to thank everyone who joined us today. We hope you found this discussion meaningful and live with practical tools to support your well-being and leadership practice. We appreciate your participation and look forward to seeing you at a future Equity Learning Series. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you, everyone. Bye, all.
Bye, everyone. Make sure you take the survey. Reach out.